Hello friends, this is Durga again from ITversity, one stop shop to learn all the technologies. So as part of this video, we will see how the same application, which is to get daily average revenue from our retail database, uh, we want to run this as a jar file on the cluster. So far we have seen that program has run locally successfully, and now we will try to build the jar file. For that we need to run sbt package command, uh, um, where our application working directory is there. We have to go there and we have to run sbt package. Once it creates the jar file, we have to ship the jar file to the remote cluster or virtual machine. In this case we will be using virtual machine, and then we have to use spark submit command with proper memory settings, um, so that we can run it successfully on our virtual machine. That being said, now let us try to do that. So first we need to identify the working directory. You can right click on the program and then say properties. So the working directory is this one. Copy till here. Okay, typically it ends with the our project name. Click on OK and then come out of this one, go to that path ls-ltr. It should have build.sbt file. Okay, if you don't have build.sbt, you will not be able to run sbt package command successfully. We can see that build.sbt have all the dependencies that are required, otherwise we will not be able to develop using Scala IDE. We have the dependencies for Spark and typesafe config. Okay, and then we can actually run sbt package command. When you run the sbt package command, it will compile the compile our Scala code into a jar file, and that will be under target. You can get the path here. Actually, you can copy this one and run scp. Okay, root. I am using root as user to connect to my remote machine. For this you need to have your Hortonworks Sandbox or Cloudera, and the username and IP address will be different for you. If it is Hortonworks Sandbox, the username will be root, and IP address you will come to know from here if you are using VMware Workstation. If it is VirtualBox, it is a little bit different. You need to understand those differences, and then colon, and then you have to give the path. In this case I am trying to copy to the home directory of my root user on my remote machine and hit enter. Okay, in this case I am trying to run this on my virtual machine itself in an client mode. Now it is copied. You can see it here. It is another session on the same machine, and you can see that this jar file is copied. Okay, and now we can run the spark submit command, and to get the sample spark submit command, you can go back to Spark context and Spark configuration. No, not this one. I think it is develop Spark apps with Scala IDE. Go to end of this blog. And this is the command which you need to run. If you have to get it in multiple lines, you have to put it and the forward slash, otherwise it will not work. I think it is backward slash. Let me copy paste these things. So here we have to give the class name. Class name is retail dot average revenue daily. Okay, and then we have to give the master as yarn. If you want to run it in yarn mode, we have to give the master also as yarn, otherwise it will not work. If it is meshes, you don't need to give these things. You just give the meshes uh, URL as the parameter value. Okay, master, and then I want to pass executor memory. Because we have limited capacity on our VM, I don't want to run it with complete default capacity. Hence, I am overriding these things, executor memory, which will limit the memory allocation to 512 megabytes for each task. And then I want to have only one executor core. Don't worry if you don't understand these things, just use these things on your VM so that it will run. I will cover these things at a later point in time when it is more appropriate. If you want, you can explore it further. And then here we have to give the jar file name. Jar file name is this one, and then we have to give the parameters. Okay, so it expects 3 parameters, and I will show you. So once you copy the jar file, you have to copy the data also to the cluster, and not only to the cluster but into the HDFS, so that we actually process data which is in HDFS. So I have my data set under this location, retail_db. So we have to copy this one, scp-r, and then retail_db, root at 192.168.145.249. Sorry. We have to give the location also. Here we have to give the location. Location will be home directory, and hit enter. So the files are copied and we don't need to have these _success and .crc files. Okay, so better to delete those things. Even if you have it, doesn't matter, it will not try to read that one, but it's better to delete those things. I will do that. I am now connecting to 192.168.145.249, and then LSA-LTR retail_db. You can see there is ._success.crc._success.part crc files. If you have those things, just say this one, rm-rf retail_db star, okay, star success, and also I want to delete all crc files. Now let me run the ls-altair command again. Still hidden files are not deleted, so I have to delete those things. Okay, now all the unnecessary data unnecessary files are deleted. We have only the valid data in those directories. Now it is not enough to have in the local file system on the clusters, we have to pass it on to HDFS. If you have in the local file system, you have to run it again in the local mode with file : / as the path. But typically we will be integrating with HDFS, and we have to pass it as HDFS itself. If it is S3, we have to pass it using S3. So depending upon the file system which we are trying to use, we have to adjust our parameters. In this case, I will be running against HDFS. For that, I am actually copying this retail underscore db to user root and hit enter. If it fail, again you have to go back to my blog and make sure that you created the user space. Let me show it in this itself, develop Spark apps. Yeah, you can see the instructions over here. If it fails for you, you have to execute these things. Go to my blog, itversity.com, topic, develop Spark apps with Scala IDE. In that topic, you have the instructions about creating the user space. You have to go here. Okay. So there is the files already exist, so it failed. So let me, I think I have to just use no, actually I have to use F. So it will forcefully replace everything. -p is to just preserve the timestamp and all those things. Here in this case we want to replace because the directory already exists. It will just take a moment and then we will see how we can run. Okay, now we have run it successfully, and we can actually validate by saying hadoop fs -ls user root retail underscore db, and you will see all our 6 directories of our retail database. Orders, order items are the ones which we are more keen on. So now we have to use this as the first parameter. Okay, and the second parameter will be user root output average revenue, which is output path. And the third parameter, I want to run it in the production mode, so hence I am passing it as prod and hit enter. Now the program will be submitted. While it is running, you can actually launch the Spark web interface. For that, you have to go to Ambari URL. I am not sure, I do not remember the port number of the Spark history server. While it is running, you have to go to the resource manager, which is I think 8088. Once it is done, you have to go to the history server. Okay, it is still running. While it is running, if you want to see, you can go to Yarn, go to quick links. It is a little bit on the slower side, so it is taking a little bit of time to load. So here I am going to the resource manager UI. While it is running, you can see the details of our application on the resource manager UI. You can see it here. Click on application master. So it seems to be, it has run into some out of memory issues. Probably I might have to restart. Let me do that. So I am killing this session and I am actually restarting my VM, just in case if because it is running for quite some time. In case if there are any contention issues, it will be reset. It is quite common to restart on our virtual machines. We cannot avoid that. Okay, once it is restarted, I will log in and I will show you how to run. So now it is up and running. Let us see. I am running the same command again. I hope it will run this time. And also let us go to the Ambari or resource manager web interface. I think it is still coming up. It is still coming up. You can see it here. You can go to the web console and see the progress of the VM being coming up. So now it came up, and we can actually go to Yarn, go to quick links, and go to Resource Manager UI. Resource Manager runs on 8088 port. Okay, now we will actually run the job. Okay, once the job is started, you will see the progress here. It is not started. For some reason today my VM is running very slow. Let's see, I hope at least this time it will work. Okay, still the application is not started. Now it will start. Yeah, now it is connecting to the resource manager, which is the Yarn master, and now the job is started. You can see it here. You can click on this application master to track the progress. Again, it is running too many times this accepted thing. That means again it might not work. Let us wait for some time. Yeah, this time it is working. Okay, now the program is running. It will take around a minute to complete it. It is very slow because of our limitations on the environment. In actual cluster, this will happen very fast. It will not take this much of time. Okay, so don't get frustrated that Spark is supposed to be very fast, but it is running slow. It is because we are trying to run on the VM with limited resources, and also my laptop is hogged with the resources. Hence, it is running very slow. Otherwise, it would have done long way back. Still, it is running. So now it is completed. You can go back and see if there are any issues. It is very important step. Once it is done, you have to go back and make sure that there are no errors. Okay. Once you confirm that there are no errors, you can go to Hadoop FS by running hadoop-ls/user/root, and you can see a new directory is created, which is passed as the output path, which is output average range. Okay, we can actually have a look at this. It is just ran on midnight 43, and now the time on the VM is midnight 44. Okay, so it is just run. So now run hadoop fs-ls and give that path, and you can see a couple of files over there, and you can also say hadoop fs-cat /part star. You will see the content of the file, and you can see data in data sorted in ascending order. We got the date and then average revenue for each day. So we have successfully ran our application, which is average revenue daily, on the cluster as well. That being said, that's it. We have successfully developed a complete application using several APIs, and we have successfully tested on that cluster, and we will see more concepts as part of further topics. But for now, we have completed most of the important concepts beside the core API. We started with defining the problem statement, and then we have gone through all the steps to read the data, to apply transformations, to join the data sets, to apply again transformations to get the average revenue, and then we have seen how to build it as a jar file and run it on the cluster. That being said, I hope you are enjoying the content. If you like this video, or if you have to provide the feedback or rating, please do so, especially when it comes to rating. Please give me the full rating. If you think otherwise, please raise the issue so that I can improvise on those issues going forward. Thank you. Bye.